Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So as you can see, I have a guest. Her name is Toby. Toby is my friend and my former colleague. We worked in Nigeria at PwC for quite a while before going our separate ways, before traveling to different countries. So I brought her on today to talk about her experience living in the UK, everything respecting like getting a job, life here, settling in, her challenges, mistakes, what she could have done better on, and just like share some inspiration for anyone who's watching and wants to know a few things about the life here. So over to you, Toby. Tell us about yourself.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. Hi Fisayo,
Hi.
thank you. So my name is Toby, and just a brief background about myself. I started my professional career at PwC in 2016, October 2016, and I spent about approximately 6 years. And in
Wow. Six
yes,
years. You left in
yes,
2020. Oh,
yes, in 2022,
2026. Okay.
yes,
Wow.
March
Mm-hmm.
or April, that's when I left. And then I moved to the UK. So that's just a brief summary about my Nigerian professional life and then here in the UK. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about like journeying to the UK. What informed your move to travel and how easy was it like navigating the whole finding a job? I'm sure you already got a job before you left Nigeria.
Yes.
So what gave you the confidence, to know that I could just come here, find my job first in Nigeria and then come to the UK and start my new life and continue?
Okay. Good question. So I think the first thing is it was a trend, right? Japa was a trend. So we then needed to decide, or okay, at the time, I needed to decide what country was going to be. So for the UK, I knew that most people from the Big Four were getting opportunities. However, these opportunities were more those in audit. But I knew a few people that had gotten in our unit, which was tax. So I was true to myself. So I think that's one thing that is important.
Hmm.
So to be true to yourself. So
Right.
I knew that I didn't want to read. I didn't want to go to school. So I did not even explore
The school
that option,
route.
the school route. I just did not explore
Okay.
it. So
Shades to me.
no. So I did not. So I started applying and I started applying March and got tons of unfortunately, right. But
It's called a love letter.
yes, I just kept on applying. So I think in November of 2022, I then got an email for an interview at the first place I worked in while in the UK, and that was it. So I did the interview and got my offer. Even though I knew I was going to be employed in December,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get my offer till February.
Mm-hmm.
So brief summary on that, and I think there will be a lesson on that. That's a
Okay.
lesson. That's why I want to discuss it.
Okay.
So after the interview, typically with that company, within a week you would have known if you were going to be employed.
So
But
fast.
yes, so fast. But then for me, it took a month. But I was busy with other things. I think I was writing exams, so I just let it be. But when I was ready, I started to follow up, and the external agent had left. Someone else was involved. And immediately I reached out, and I saw that the agent that was handling it had left.
With like agents, like do you
Oh,
use
yes.
agents?
Oh, so not necessarily agents, but external recruiters. So most of
Okay.
these companies have external recruiters, companies that they use to do these interviews and all of that.
Oh.
I mean, that makes the process a bit cumbersome,
Mm-hmm.
but that was what I used to get to.
Okay. Was there any time in your recruiting process that you had to reach out to like maybe a partner or like a manager or senior manager
You are
within
in
the
the
firm?
spirit, Fisayo. You are in the spirit. So when I did reach out to this recruiter, they said this particular person left. I started talking to someone else, and between December, January, it was just one story to the other. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then one lesson I learned. So the role I applied for was assistant manager. And after my first interview, they said, oh, everything was good. However, because I did not have UK experience, they were going to put me a grade lower. So I did not fight it. So I would say someone watching this, it's
Hmm.
okay to negotiate
Negotiate.
and ask for more. You can even say, okay, even in this assistant manager, for example, there are bands to it. Can you put me maybe the lowest band and then I'll grow? So
That's
that's
smart.
one, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's one lesson. So there was a lot of stories. And then to your question, I think also in professional career, you need to know who to escalate to,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you're escalating to the wrong people.
Mm.
So in February, when I was being just tossed to and fro, right, the director that interviewed me, I found his email and then I sent him an email explaining with details. You interviewed me on this day, someone else interviewed me on this day. I got an email to say I will be given an offer, but till date, I've not received the offer. And Fisayo, I'm going to tell you that
Are you
after
serious?
yes, after I escalated within 1 week, I got the offer.
Wow.
Yes. So I think I just been speaking to the wrong people,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it's you just need to know the right people to escalate to.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to him. He still remembered me from the
From the
interview. So I
mm-hmm.
gave him details. This is the date, sort of making his work easier as
Easier,
well. You
like
don't need to
he
stress.
remembers you.
Yes. So I gave him the date and within 1 week, even responded immediately saying, I'm so sorry, I'm going to take this up. And everyone that was quiet initially started saying, oh, okay,
They're
we'll
on
do
their
this
toes already.
exactly. So we didn't, because I think I remember I sent that email February 14
Mm-hmm.
and February 23rd, I got my offer,
Wow.
right? So I think it's not a good time to also say another lesson that I learned.
Yes, of course.
Okay,
The floor is
so
yours.
thank you. So again, because I'd waited for so long for
Mm-hmm.
this offer, I think I was already sort of exhausted,
Mm-hmm.
right? And once I got the compensation, I
Ooh.
did not negotiate. This is a
Wow.
very, very silly mistake, right?
Wow.
Because even, I mean, now I'm going to shade myself, as educated as I am.
Oh,
Maybe I was sort of comparing Nigeria. Oh,
Nigerian
bring your
salaries.
calculator and do this, which is
Hey.
just really, now that I think of it, I'm like, oh, really,
Oh.
Toby, Toby, yeah.
Oh.
So I did not, because I was just over it. I'd been waiting since November. This is February. I need to move. So I did not do that. But again, maybe for someone that has made this decision,
Mm-hmm.
you can rectify, you
Mm-hmm.
can amend, right? It's not the end of the world. It's not a death sentence, right? So that was another part. Okay, then getting my offer, and
Mm-hmm.
then entire immigration process, and finally, sometime in May, I relocated to the UK.
Wow, amazing. That's such a long process, but
Yes,
you got in,
yes, I
thankfully.
did.
So, when you got in, what were the few things that surprised you or shocked you about life here, work culture, general lifestyle?
So I think the first that I'm going to say is right from the airport, right? Of course, first the blast of the wind. They're like, woo,
Because
woo.
May is like, that's
Mm-hmm.
after like spring already. It's almost getting to summer, right?
Yes, but I mean, for someone coming from 28 degrees in
In
Nigeria,
Nigeria.
was just like, oh, what's going
Wow,
on
what's
here?
going on? Okay.
So that was the first. The second was, I mean, I took another story before we could get the transportation to go to the hotel. It was almost past 8, and when we were driving, I thought, okay, maybe the time was still 6 o'clock, and I'm like, 8 p.m. and it's still
It's
bright.
still very.
Oh my goodness! So that was another
Wait,
culture shock.
did the company make any provision for you, like moving, transportation, landing in, onboarding, anything like that?
Unfortunately, no. So this particular company did not make that provision. We only got a cash
Reimbursement.
reimbursement,
Okay.
right? So I had to do the booking and all, right?
Okay.
And I mean, new person, I booked far away. Office is central. I booked far away in southeast, right? So
Sorry.
yes, so
Oh.
that was that about this particular company I started with. And so that was one culture shock. Also, I initially thought that with the UK, you are not going to see a lot of greeneries. It was just all going to be high-rise buildings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are very environmental conscious. So I saw so many forest trees. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I thought I was just going to see
Going to
high-rise
cities.
buildings. And yes, so that's a few culture shock from just experiencing things physically.
Mm-hmm.
Then switching to work,
Mm-hmm.
so with our company in Nigeria, right? There's this friendship you build, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I met Fisayo in Nigeria, and here we are. I
Right.
can't say that about UK,
Hmm.
right? I mean, to put a balance, there are some advantages and disadvantages, right? So in Nigeria, because of that relationship, sometimes people may cross the boundary, right? For example, you are on leave and they
And they're
would
calling you
call
for
you, they are
work
calling you. However, yeah, you don't even have that personal relationship.
to
You get
even
a
go.
work phone.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've closed, you
Yeah,
are gone,
close.
right? Like you are gone. So that was one. I think that's on the good part,
Mm-hmm.
right? Also, one thing to on the good part, because I mean Nigeria is not all bad, right? So
No,
when
it's
you are
not.
handing over,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as at that time you will hand over to, let's say as an assistant manager, you hand over to the manager, the senior manager on your job. Unlike where we are coming from, Fisaya, where
You
you
hand
look
over
for
to the
your
younger,
peers, yeah.
yeah,
But now if you look at it, that was not really realistic, right? Because then you have to explain to someone, and
sure.
most times when you come back, maybe the senior will be like, I was doing all the work, you didn't hand over properly, right?
Right, right.
But if you're handing over to senior manager,
Mm-hmm.
they know the client. The
Right.
client is not getting some weird email from someone wondering, who is this again on my
But doesn't
engagement?
that add to their own workload though?
Yes, so it does, but in this part of the world, so vacation is really important. So they understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they know too that when they are gone,
Mm-hmm.
they don't expect an email from you,
Oh,
right? So
interesting.
they don't
Okay.
expect an email from you. Once you can close with your full chest,
Mm-hmm.
5 o'clock, done, right?
Done.
Nobody's expecting anything.
Okay.
So those are some differences. But also,
Okay.
I think you spend like most of your working life at work. So those relationships are healthy. You can't really have someone randomly maybe talk to, because again boundaries, right? For you, you may just be like, okay, Nigerian vibes, say this, say that, and they're like, asking me this question, that is this, that is that. You are crossing a line. So I think in terms of that's some culture, workshop. Also, one more thing in Nigeria, right, where I would say with our industry, where promotion in Nigeria is setting, yeah, it's a different ball game, right?
Tell us
It's
more. Tell
not,
us more
oh,
about it.
okay, I'll
Tell
do
us
that.
more. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and I mean, I understand when you get to a certain maybe level where it's not just your skill,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to have communication skills, you need to be able to discuss and be in people's faces.
So does
But
that mean that your work doesn't necessarily speak for you?
no, it doesn't, unfortunately.
Wow.
It plays a part, but it doesn't in the full picture,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that is fair if you are like senior manager,
Mm-hmm.
director, because you
Mm-hmm.
need to then be in people's faces
Right.
where you may not be the one necessarily doing the work,
Mm-hmm.
but getting the clients.
Mm-hmm.
But for this part, I mean, as low as wanting to move to assistant manager, not only do you need to do the work well, but
Mm-hmm.
you also need to inform your manager that you
That
want to be
you've done it.
promoted.
Oh, then you want to be promoted.
Yes, absolutely. Right. And you need to be in their faces, which was just for me, I do not understand that particular culture, because if shouldn't my work speak for me, my appraiser, but I need to tell you to your face, excuse me, please. I feel like I'm ready to be promoted. So I think that's another sort of work culture shock. And maybe lastly, in terms of accommodation, here in the UK, you pay your rent monthly, and also there are cases where they do a lot of background check. I mean, I had cases where they had said, okay, it's okay, they want to choose you, and 2 days later they can just say the landlord is no longer
Interested.
interested in going with you, or wants to suddenly increase the rent. Fisayo, you won't believe that as at the time I moved, housing crisis was so bad that you would see a queue of like 50 people
Wow.
waiting to view a
Eh,
particular apartment.
apartment.
And then sometimes they would then say highest bidder. So let's say the rent was like
Highest
1,000. I'm
bidder.
telling you.
Okay, I
So,
never experienced that in the
oh,
US.
oh
I
yes,
never.
absolutely.
So, like here, right? Rent is every month.
Mm-hmm.
When you get an apartment, your
Mm-hmm.
lease is either for 12 months or 18 months,
Mm-hmm.
and then you pay every month. But the process of getting paid is typically always fixed. Like maybe they say between 1,200 to 1,400,
Yeah.
and maybe the difference is because of the space or like
Mm-hmm.
where it is located in the
Mm-hmm.
facility.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like highest
Oh no,
bidder.
so for us, for as at the time we moved, there was
Mhm.
also a large influx of students.
Okay.
So the supply was more than
The
demand.
demand. Okay.
So you would see where they would put, for example, yeah, maybe 1 2 to 1 4 pounds,
Hmm.
but someone would say, I'll offer you 2,000. Yeah.
Wow.
So I did experience that for sure, for
Mhm.
sure, yeah. So I think just generally those are some of these culture shocks that I
Like,
experienced.
since I've been here, I've encountered a lot of people who came into the school route and people who got jobs. And it does appear that the people, majority of the students that I have spoken to are struggling. And I feel very pained. It feels like the system just brings them in to take their money and like does not give them a pathway to settling into work. Like what is your experience with that? What would you advise anyone who is thinking of moving here and they're wondering, whether to get a degree or like just get straight work, depending on what their professional experience has been so far?
Okay. So for work, first you need to have transferable skills.
Right.
And we are very fortunate to have worked with a big four and have that. Not everyone has that opportunity, right?
Right.
That's one. Two, I think research is very, very important. But now I'm going to speak from my own personal experiences. So I came in through work, and I have people, very close people, family members and all that came in through school. So Fisayo, you are right. Unfortunately, I feel like the system just needed, post Brexit, needed the funds for school fees, and after that,
Hmm.
there's just no plan. And you
Yeah.
would see, and this is not unique to UK. In
Really?
Canada, I also have family. In Canada, only the citizens and the PR gets those benefits, school and all. If you
But it's not
benefit,
that way in the US. In
yeah,
fact, it seems like the easiest way to get into corporate America is by getting a postgrad degree in the
yeah,
US because there are several opportunities for like internships and full time employment and like it's just I don't know, it's just different and
yeah.
very
But I mean, US, that's where dreams are made,
you
right?
say that's my dreams are
That's what
made.
they say. And I mean,
Okay.
just comparing it with UK, you have
Mhm.
the land mass, you
Right.
have really rich companies, so to speak,
Hmm.
compared to the UK,
Right.
right? So for the UK is smaller than
The US.
US, right? So I was saying, even in Canada, that happens. So for students, they're like, why are you dragging jobs
Right.
with our people?
Hmm.
You came for school, focus on
On
school
school.
and leave, right? So then for year two, unfortunately I do agree that yes, they expect that once you come for school, once you are done, bye bye.
You go back.
Then now I'll say, so I'm leaning towards the career path,
Right.
which was what I chose, and if I was going to advise anyone to choose that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for the career path, the pathway to citizenship or getting your passport, your British passport, is about 6 years. So it's a 5 year route first,
Mm-hmm.
where you'll be on the workers visa,
Mm-hmm.
and after that you have 1 year of ILR indefinitely to remain. So
Okay.
that's about 6 years. After that, you get your British passport. With the school, once you are done with the school, right? If you are not able to get a job that's willing to sponsor you, then you
Mm-hmm.
have to apply for post-study
Visa.
visa,
Okay.
and they will give you this for 2 years.
Okay.
This 2 years does not count towards your citizenship visa. It
Oh wow.
doesn't, right?
Okay.
So if you don't, then so there are jobs. People say there are jobs, but first, what type of is there? Secondly, these jobs, are they willing to sponsor you? Because sponsorship is also not that cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, approximately, I'm not let me not put figures, right, but it's not cheap for the company as well,
Right.
right? And sometimes you need to defend to the home office, is this skill enough? Why are you bringing someone all the
Right.
way or no? So aside from the 2 years, which doesn't count towards your citizenship,
Mm-hmm.
what is also the assurance that you will then get a sponsorship after that? But for me, I think the work route, I mean, I had that peace of mind
Mm-hmm.
before I even left Nigeria,
Nigeria. Okay.
right? And I mean, there's still uncertainty, right? Because even if you come, you can be laid off. There could be redundancy, and you need to find another. But I think opportunities still abound. So for me, for example, the company that I came with, I'm no longer with that company. So I'm
Right.
with another company.
And I think we should get to that.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I don't want to interrupt you, but
Mhm.
please continue talking. I want us to get to that.
Okay. Yes. So I just feel like for me, it's a clear path. Doing my job more reassuring. There's more sort of peace of mind
Mm-hmm.
than the school route, which for me, I just think it's not certain, right? And I mean, Fisaya, I wouldn't even say this is based on, oh, how brilliant you are.
Mm-hmm.
I know a few people that they've come out top in their class,
Mm-hmm.
top in the whole university, and they're
Mm-hmm.
still struggling to get a decent job.
Mm.
So it's like you've invested this much in schooling,
Right.
but what is the reward?
What's the
So
reward?
yeah.
Mm. Interesting. All right. So on your job move and job change, I know you
Mm.
talked about offer negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure you applied that lesson when you were getting to your new job.
Yes.
So, what are the things that you'd have to share based on your new experience with the new role?
Yes. So for offer negotiation, I think the first thing I'll say is it is your bargaining power,
Mm.
especially when you're an experienced hire. It's no longer a fixed rate where graduate training we are paying this amount. So it's your negotiating power. So some mistakes I made over here, what I noticed is in the guise of personal touch, they want to call you first to give you an offer. And you need to don't feel intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them, can I sleep on it? Can
Mm.
I think about it? Don't be intimidated or feel like you need to give a response right on the
Immediately.
call.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that's one thing you need to learn. Also, secondly, in Nigeria, where they can ask you for your payslip and you need to
Is that
present
legal?
it. Yeah, it's not. Here they
Okay.
can ask, but you are not obligated to provide it. You can
That's
say,
fair.
based on my company policy and no, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot provide this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and why did I bring this up? So unfortunately, some companies might use that as a benchmark. So if you know that maybe your previous company you've been lowballed, then don't bother presenting it. Just say, so things you can say is, I'm sure that there's a budget for this role. What's the
Right.
budget?
Right.
Based on my years of experience,
Mm-hmm.
I've done my research. This role is going for, let's say, between 65 to 75,000 pounds.
Right.
So where would I fit in and
Mm-hmm.
all, rather
Mm-hmm.
than providing that payslip?
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I've learned is that, which I did differently. Again, if a company likes you, they like you.
Mm.
And there are also internal reports. If they recommended you and then you say no because of pay, most times internally they need to document it. So all those phone calls is just still, I don't want a long email chain.
Right.
If it's, as we say, where we are coming from, if it's not documented, it's not
It's not
done.
done.
Right. So all of that is just imagine you're in a market. How
Mm-hmm.
much is this?
Yeah.
That's, yes,
Haggling.
haggling,
And it's not
absolutely.
written.
Right. So that's another thing. Take your time, do your research, and get your worth. So another thing is you would you have more bargaining power when you are coming from outside,
Mm.
inside, rather than when you are inside. You're
And
already in the
trying to move your
system.
way up.
Absolutely. So that's your entry pay is very important
Mm.
because another thing very important. So if you do the company research and you say that maybe you are joining mid-year,
Yeah.
you need to know that you'll be stuck with that salary till next year or till
To
the
the next
next,
promotion cycle.
exactly, or till the next salary review, because
Mm-hmm.
most salary review you need to be in the company from maybe the beginning of the year or something. So if you
Right.
join mid-year, you are stuck for like 6 months.
Wow.
Or imagine if review you've not been confirmed, you
Mm-hmm.
are stuck again till maybe the next one. So it's important that you get it right from the
From the
beginning,
beginning.
right? And I mean, there's the favor factor, right? We
Roll that
can't
out.
rule that out. So I think those are some of the things that I did differently. And at the end of the day, you need to again know what you want and be at peace with yourself. If you are saying you want to take this pay, if you join that company 3 months down the line, if you somehow know how much you are worth, will you be happy? Because no employer wants a disgruntled employee, right?
Right.
So you want to be at peace with your pay and also look at other things. Okay, if this pay is a bit too small, what's the work like? Is it remote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've saved on transportation. So you really need to sit down and do your
And
cost benefit analysis.
good,
Yeah.
good one. Thank you. I think the final thing we should touch on is just like lifestyle in the UK.
First of all, I think any Nigerian, you will miss that camaraderie that is in Nigeria, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know my next door neighbor. Like I
Wow.
do not know my next
I
door
don't
neighbor.
feel too bad.
I can't even hurriedly need salt. Eggs are not, no. So I don't know. So I would say Nigeria. I miss that just sense of belonging, right? And it's such that yeah, maybe something may be happening. They may maybe see a child that said everyone is just about minding business. Why? Where we are coming from, they say it takes a village to
Right.
raise a
To raise
child.
right.
Yeah, it's all on you, right? You and your partner, right? So I think that's one thing about lifestyle. Also, everyone that comes, I mean, there's the winter shock. There's even statistics that more people, there are more suicides, depression in winter. I mean, it's getting that as early as 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You need to mentally fight yourself that no, it's dark, but I'm still working. I can't shut down now. So there's that. So in terms of lifestyle, you are more on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Support system is sort of limited,
Mm-hmm.
right? Also, of course, Nigerian, you miss party. Oh, I
Right,
bet.
right.
These things only happen maybe in summer. Winter,
Mm-hmm.
you hardly see any. How you go for a party? You wear winter jackets, you wear this. I mean, it's just a bit stressful, right? Also, in church, I know that there are some churches, I mean, you would get a sense of community
Mm-hmm.
in some churches. So I think that's also a good place. But in other churches, I mean, for me, like recently I went to a Nigerian church and nobody was selling small chops after service. I'm like,
What?
this is a
What are
Nigerian
you
church.
expecting? Small chops,
No,
puff
at
puff,
least,
akara.
yes,
What?
zobo, tiger nut
Oh my
juice,
god.
yes.
No way.
So I mean, so there's that
That's
in
funny.
terms of, yeah. But then again, also just trying to compare both. Where you miss that in Nigeria, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more security, right? My gym is about 15 minutes walk, and
Oh,
sometimes my last class for a day in the week closes like 8:30, and I walk back home. I
and it's
don't
all safe.
feel like as they are moving, the light is coming on. So
Yeah.
I don't think I can try that.
Are people allowed to own guns here?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
So, but there are
That's different in the
lots
US.
of sorry, knife violence.
Knife violence.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So
Okay.
that's different. So
Yeah.
even though you may mistakenly knock your neighbor, maybe they just call the police, but it's
People.
not like they're going to bring out a gun. No, but
Okay.
there's lots of knife violence. So I mean, and it's like everywhere. Some places have more violence. Some places
Then.
is reduced. So just do your research. Where do you want to live
Mm-hmm.
and all. So yeah, I think so in terms of, I mean, whether people relationships is not as easy to build.
Mm-hmm. I think
Also,
that's like
yeah,
pretty much the same
much,
everywhere,
yeah, yeah.
honestly. All
Yes.
right. Thank you. Do you have any parting words for us?
Well,
And if you have any questions, we put them down in the comment section. So we'll be here
yes.
reading the questions that you have. And if you have any comments as well, you should have comments. So please write it down in the comments. If you have any parting words for us.
Yes. So I mean, I think yes, everyone know what you want for yourself. Sometimes the easiest route is bandwagon because my friend, this
Hmm.
person is doing school, but do your own research, do your own due diligence, and find the path you want for yourself, even in terms of certification. Don't be in a hurry to get all the certifications. Look for that niche
Hmm.
and carve it for yourself.
Hmm.
That's what you want to do and all. And then make your decision based on that. And once you've made that decision and you're at peace with it, then I think it would help you in overcoming challenges because you know you were not forced by
Right.
anyone. You did your
You did it by yourself.
research and all. And I mean, don't once you come in, like use your voice. Don't be so timid to say, oh, because I just joined,
Mm.
let me be shy and
Mm.
no. As our people say, I did not come here to count bridge. Like,
No.
so you need to know your worth, you need
Mm-hmm.
to negotiate, you need to use your voice,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you feel like you've been cheated, you need refund, send an email,
Mm-hmm.
document everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So don't be shy, feeling like, oh, they just took me in this country that is not mine. You're also helping the system. You are
Right. You
paying
are building. You
taxes,
are paying
right?
taxes. You are
And
helping to
don't even
build
get, there's your
the
employment tax,
economy.
there's
Mm-hmm.
council tax,
Mm-hmm.
there's this. So you are doing that. So I mean, stay out of trouble, but don't be bullied, to use
Right.
your voice,
Right.
right? And I think maybe lastly, don't forget to subscribe,
Oh.
like,
Oh.
comment, turn on your post
So now you're.
notification.
All
Yes,
right. Thank
thank
you
you so
so much.
much.
Thank you for watching. See you in our next video.
Bye.
Bye.